Forbidden fruit on apple juice, can I sip on the cup? Mix it with some 1942 and I'm hitting you. Girl, you chosen. Fuck it up when you bust wide open. It's the ocean.
117th Boston Marathon, the first elite runners crossed the finish line. Lalisa Desisa of Ethiopia came out victorious in the men's race, and Rita Jeptu of Kenya took the women's title. Although the winners had crossed the ribbon, thousands of participants were still running on the track, pushing towards their own personal victories. Families, including children, cheered their loved ones on and documented every moment. Like any other major event of modern times, people shared real-time updates of the marathon on the internet. But the crowd that day had no idea that the loved ones they were cheering along and recording were never going to reach the finish line. The winners, still catching their breath, were being awarded their medals when, at exactly 2:49 p.m., a loud bang changed everything. Shockwaves and shrapnel ripped through the crowd, destroying everything in their path, followed by a fireball bursting into the air. Thick plumes of black smoke covered the bright sky as everyone stood frozen in fear. For a few seconds, there was an eerie silence where the only sound was the ringing in their ears. And then, the terrifying realization hit. The crowd erupted into panic screams. The scene looked apocalyptic, with people running for their lives. They stampeded, tripping over barriers, with some trying to drag others away from the blast area. Runners, still in their race bibs, tore through barricades to assist the wounded in any way they could. But before anyone could process the first explosion, a second blast thundered through the streets, only 200 yards from the first detonation. Near the finish line, people scrambled to find safety. Meanwhile, authorities shut down mobile networks as they thought the bombs could be triggered by cell phones. This added to the panic, as no one was able to call for help or check on their families. No one knew when another explosion was going to happen, or where. It could be at the very spot where people were hiding. Every discarded backpack, every trash can became a threat. Police blasted suspicious packages with water cannons and screamed at dazed spectators to leave the perimeter immediately. Runners weren't allowed to take their bags containing their change of clothes and were herded to Boston Common, 26 miles away. There, they were left shivering for several hours with no idea of what was going on. Several minutes after the blasts, the internet erupted with updates as potentially the biggest U.S. terrorist attack since 9/11 shook the entire country. Reddit took the lead with several threads posting updates about the bombing. Amidst the abundant posts, a thread created on our news by a user named Supernova Sky stood out for its rapid live updates. No one could tell at the time, but this very thread was going to change several people's lives forever. It was used to share real-time updates of the incident as well as footage of the bombing from multiple angles since the marathon was recorded by hundreds of people at the same time.
Happened?
They shared valuable information in hopes of helping people find their loved ones. If anyone has friends and family running in the race, you can find their check-ins here. If you have concerns about locating loved ones, Boston has set up this line to inquire. Please call only if you have a bona fide interest in doing so and cannot locate your loved one in the race and or in the Boston area. Everything about the incident was being updated as it was happening, with several posts each minute. WBZ field reporter at the finish line said he saw people being removed without limbs and that there were two that were